I'm about to talk about what we're not allowed to talk about. So instead of the word interference, I'm going to use the word tomatoes just for fun, and you'll understand what I mean here. Because RFK said a lot of amazing things on the Tucker Carlson interview he just did, but one big thing that he said out loud that no one's been saying out loud yet is that the CIA actively did election tomatoes in the 2020 election, and we all know it, and it's well proven, and it's not controversial, but no one wants to admit it or talk about it. And I'm just going to throw some shots across the bow right now at the start of this video that any platform that censors this video is actively engaging in election tomatoes again by censoring not only free speech, but true free speech that is being critical of their handlers in the agency.
And Democrats can't even hear this story because it touches so many sort of culture war buttons, but it's a true story that Hunter Biden's laptop suddenly became an issue about a week before the debate. And Anthony Blinken, who is now the Secretary of State, and who was then the director of President Biden's campaign, went to Gina Haspel, who is the head of this director of the CIA, and said to her, "We need help with this." She then got 51 CIA, current and former CIA officers.
Remember this whole headline? Everything he just said is true, and I'm about to show you the original sources, the actual documents. This is just basic facts. More than 50 former senior intelligence officials, it was 51 to be exact, signed this letter outlining their belief that recent disclosed emails about the laptop has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. This is the actual letter, which no one decided to actually read because they lay out their allegations and then they say, quote, "We want to emphasize that we do not know if the emails provided to the New York Post by President Trump's personal attorney Giuliani are genuine or not, and that we do not have evidence of Russian involvement. Just that our experience makes us deeply suspicious that the Russian government played a significant role in this case." So literally nothing. They're just making up claims to do what exactly? I mean, it's not like the CIA has been doing election tomatoes all across the world ever since it was first founded. Look it up. They do it with bags of cash. They do it with coups. They do it with assassinations, all sorts of things. In this case, they do it with information. And all 51 of these dudes signed this letter. And at the bottom, it tells you who they are. This is all of their names in the order in which they appear. And you only need to look up the first two to realize, Jim Clapper, former director of national intelligence? Yeah, he perjured himself when he lied to us about the NSA spying operations. Oh, and Michael Hayden? Yeah, he set up those NSA spying operations, lied to us about them, and then he also lied to us about the torture programs at places like Guantanamo Bay. Oh, and by the way, Gina Haspel, the CIA director that RFK was referencing at the start, the one that got this all moving, yeah, she was actually involved in those illegal torture programs, and then she helped cover it up by destroying like a whole bunch of tapes of those programs at a black site. So the list of top intelligence officials are literally professional deep state liars. And we know that, factually. I mean, if you knew history, you would know that before you even knew that, because the job of the CIA is to lie to you. Think about it. You don't need a covert intelligence agency to do things that you're allowed to do in the open. Then you would just do it with the normal government. And this letter was originally provided to Politico by former top aide under CIA Director John Brennan, Nick Shapiro. Nick Shapiro is an expert in crisis management for the CIA. Like the kind of crisis where the guy you want to get into office suddenly has this big scandal coming out and you need to discredit it. That kind of crisis. Don't worry about the fact that the CIA is expressly forbidden from interfacing with anything on American soil, and definitely with anything to do with elections. Definitely no election tomatoes here in America, just protecting us from disinformation. And not just the kind of disinformation that is wildly embarrassing, and not just the kind of disinformation that implies straight up pedophilic interest in his child niece. There's pretty much only one reason why a dude duplicates the same photo of his child niece in her bathing suit over and over and over again all throughout his camera roll. Does it with pictures of her friends too. Has like whole photo shoots. It's super messed up. But obviously it was done to him and his siblings in their childhood too. Whole other rabbit hole. These things happen in cycles. But it also had evidence of all sorts of much more governmental level corruption that you can find in reports like the court testimony of Jason Galanis, Hunter Biden's third business partner, the one that would not play ball. And so they tried to lock him up and keep him out of the courtroom so that he could not tell the true story of what Hunter Biden had been up to, where he clearly alleges that he has multiple instances of knowing without any doubt that Mr. Joe Biden was very much aware of Hunter's business deals and was very much influence peddling on behalf of Hunter. This is in reference to China, but we all know it was in reference to Ukraine too, where conveniently a little war-doozy happened. But anyways, the letter was enough for Biden to call it misinformation on the debate stage and brush it aside, for the mainstream media to run cover in every single publication, just fucking propaganda. Despite us now having House Oversight Committee documents clearly detailing the forensic analysis of the actual accounts, bank accounts, money transferring in and out of Biden family bank accounts. But somehow people still want to bury their head in the sand because they've been programmed to be so angry about this orange guy that they can't even face up to the fact that maybe there's more going on here. Like, oh, you could never believe that the president of the United States would do something like that? He would never be corrupt like that? First of all, not even up to him. It's the CIA doing these things, and we all know how they do. And second of all, I've got news for you. Mr. Bill Clinton, the president of the United States, pause, think about it. He was inviting Jeffrey to the White House like 17 times. He was engaging in the services that Epstein provided all throughout his presidency. And they just invited him to speak at the DNC. As if you don't have a memory. As if you don't know who he really is. This isn't like, oh, he likes chocolate ice cream on the side and that's silly. This is like, hello? What Bill was actually up to makes the Monica Lewinsky scandal seem like a typo. And what the CIA is actually up to is everything they accuse Orange Man Bad of doing. And don't get me wrong, I don't have any great love for Orange Man. I just abhor intelligence agencies meddling in our shit and then pretending like they're protecting us. So, props to RFK for speaking the truth finally, even at great personal risk. Props to anyone who's thinking for themselves. Props to Tucker for hosting great conversations. You don't need to agree with people these days on every topic in order to realize that some people are here for truth and honesty and righteousness and just whatever's real, and other people are straight up fucking lying. At this point, it's not about lefts and rights. It's not about reds and blues. It's about the liars, the corrupt, the evil, and those who have real opinions and honesty and integrity and are going to have respectful conversations about our differences, not make up lies, tomato elections, and destroy our country. That's pretty much where we're at now. So basically, fuck the CIA.